Hey folks, Karyn Bryant here for MMA Heat, talking with Ian Heinisch, who is facing Omari Akhmedov at UFC 245. Ian, my man, I feel like it's been forever since you've been in action. I know it was only this summer, but how ready are you to get back at it?
Yeah, absolutely. I try to stay as busy as I can. I had to overcome a little bit of an injury, and I wasn't able to fight Tavares, but it gave me some time to really reflect on, the mistakes I made against Brunson, and I'm just focused on myself and correcting those mistakes and having a blast this week.
Nice. Now, is it the type of injury that you were talking to people about, or you just wanted to keep that bit closed?
No, about right after that loss, I got a quick turnaround to fight Tavares, like I think 7 weeks later. So I jumped right back into training camp and took a super hard accidental headbutt in sparring, and then tried to kind of push through it, which is never a good idea with a head injury. And yeah, had a pretty bad concussion, and I had to take 4 or 5 weeks off. And but I'm healed up, I'm feeling good, and just put in a great camp and ready to go.
Nice. And was that the first time something like that's happened to you, a concussion, or no?
No, I've experienced a pretty bad one early in my career, and but yeah, it's been a while.
Good. Well, I'm glad that you're healed up and everything now, though. I was actually thinking because that fight was supposed to be in Singapore, and I was over there on that one, which was an incredible place. I know you're going to have to make it up to yourself and get over there at some point, because it's a really great, really great place.
Yeah.
But what do you think of the difference in kind of opponent, right? Because Brad Tavares is something very different from Akhmedov.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I'm just really not trying to focus on who the next opponent is and just focus on me, because I believe I'm my greatest enemy and my biggest, if I can conquer myself, I can conquer anyone. So I just had to fix some mistakes and kind of just reevaluate about fight week, kind of leaking a lot of energy. I also wasn't feeling I was pretty sick that week as well. And so there was a bunch of things. I just learned so much too. And being in the cage with someone so vetty as Brunson is, I really learned a lot from him. And he fought truly his best fight he's ever fought. So, it actually kind of gave me confidence before I, obviously gassed out a little in the second and third. I felt really good in the first. And then, even when I was warming up, though, I felt terrible. And so, I just learned a bunch of stuff. And Zach Cummings actually fought Omari last. Yeah. So coach has a lot of intel on him, and I'm just trusting the process of what he's coached me on, and just going to go out there and have fun.
Well, that's a very interesting storyline, the fight week stuff, because that fight was here in LA, right? So there's a lot going on whenever you fight here, but what are those kind of energy drains that you guys deal with? I mean, probably this interview is one of them, Ian, so I'm sorry. But
no.
During fight week, what are the things that take away from you mentally?
The typical fight week, you got to expect interviews, especially when you're on such a huge pay-per-view card, which I am again, and not on the main card this time. It's a little bit less hectic, but no, it was mostly a lot of my fans and friends and family. I've always fought like in Argentina, London, like far places like upstate New York. And so it was so close to Colorado that so many people came and they actually stayed in the same hotel. So every time I went downstairs, it was a crowd of 20, 30 people, which is great. I love that. And I love the support of my fans. But just on fight week, you got to isolate a little bit. You got to kind of, save all that, just hanging out with your fans and stuff for after the fight, after you accomplish your mission. So it was just a lot of people pulled me in different directions, and I felt a little bit obligated because a lot of these guys have supported me since the beginning. So, now I'm just kind of isolating. I'm off the phone a lot, and I'm just enjoying the process with my team and coaches.
That's very smart, very, very smart approach. But let's actually back it up again and talk about the fight, because like you said, you did get a little bit tired there with Derek. But as we know now, I mean, Derek beat Johnny Walker. This is a man who I'm sorry, no, that was Corey, my bad. But Derek is a guy that is very, very dangerous, right? And sometimes he comes out and he fights recklessly, and sometimes he fights really smart. And you were there the night he fought the smartest fight of his life. So what was your thought process like during that fight?
Yeah, so, just not feeling good in my mind, I was like, just go knock him out, and rocking him super early and just hunting a knockout, and, instead of being more patient. And Derek was very patient, and he weathered the early storm, and, he used a bunch of veteran moves on me that I kind of picked up pointers from. And, like I say, he didn't get emotional in there. He fought a great fight, and the whole fight week being on a huge pay-per-view, now I know what to expect. I feel like I'm more seasoned now for huge pay-per-view, and I feel like Omari's going to be struggling probably a little bit with that. Just it's just a different level. It's just different feeling about it as well, the Dana talk and all that stuff. So yeah, it's cool, and I learned so much, and hopefully I'll run it back with Brunson sometime.
Well, and the thing about it is, it's only your fourth fight. That was your third UFC fight, right?
Yeah.
Right, and so now you're heading into your fourth, but for your third UFC fight to already give you somebody that high up in the rankings, that also, even on a losing fight for you, did that give you any more confidence, so that like, yeah, I really am meant to hang with these guys? It's just a question of slight adjustments now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, if you look at the first round, I dominated that first round and almost knocked him out. And usually I can hold that pace. I'm a cardio machine, like with Cesar Ferreira and Antonio Carlos Jr. Those guys got tired, and I held my pace the entire time. I've never felt so tired in a fight, and like terrible. I went to the PI after. We ran a bunch of tests.
Yeah.
My liver enzymes are through the roof. I had the Epstein-Barr virus. So, I mean, there was a lot going on, and we kind of made some adjustments with health-wise, and so I feel great this week. This week I feel back to normal. I'm really enjoying the journey. I'm just taking it all in instead of so focused on the result. I know the result's it's gonna be what I want as long as I go out there and do my thing. So I'm just enjoying time with my coaches at this beautiful hotel, and just enjoying it with the friends and family.
Very nice. So yeah, let's talk about your camp. Who have your main training partners been for this one? And is there anybody is there anything about Omari that specifically you wanted to work against, or just sort of what was your thought process in camp?
So my main training partner for sparring has been Nate Marquardt. He's actually been training about 7 months now, and he looks really good, and he's a very good look for my opponent. He throws big overhands.
Yeah.
He has great timing on his takedowns, and he's just a super seasoned vet, more than anyone I know. So just the pointers he's been giving me throughout camp, and just the knowledge that guy has about MMA is insane. And so we stayed good friends after he retired, and he told me, hey, I'm training and I'm going to come back. And he came in, he was in shape, he was ready to go. And we were like, this is the perfect guy for this camp and this opponent. So we ran with that, and I feel really confident about how the camp went.
Nice. That's great. I mean, yeah, he former champion right there. So
yeah.
A lot of great looks with him. We know that, obviously the holidays are coming up. Is there anything that you're lucky that you're getting this one in and you get to enjoy Christmas and everything, right?
Yeah.
Is there anything that you specifically are hoping for Christmas this year? Like if you win, you get some bonus. What are you going to treat yourself to?
Honestly, this is kind of just going to be more of a mellow Christmas. We're going out to my wife's ranch for Christmas, and just spending some time with family out there, spending some time with my family, actually be able to just eat and indulge and just buy people a bunch of presents and have time off. That's what I'm really looking forward to. And, I'll probably throw in a trip to Mexico somewhere in between all that, and,
nice.
Get my vitamin C fix, and, so that's what I'm looking forward to.
Very nice. Well, yeah, because you probably had to not have a full-on Thanksgiving, right?
No, I didn't get to indulge in. It seems like I always fight around this time, so or something's coming up in January, so I have to be ready. So, getting this fight right around the holidays is just going to be a stamp on the year. Finish it out with a W, get back in the winning range or column, and then be able to just go back and get back into training and really just enjoy it and learn new things and be a new fighter for my next fight.
Nice. Well, it sounds really great. One thing when you were fighting Derek, I was watching that fight, just kind of standing there, and I was standing with a couple of cops. And it was funny because you're fighting Derek Brunson, and this was sort of a joke that I was playing on, stereotypes and expectations of people. And granted, these were two policemen, but you and Derek were in the octagon, and I said, "Hey guys, one of those guys is a felon. One of them has been in jail. One of them is this. One of them is that." And they were like, "Really, really?" And I'm like, "Yeah, the white guy." And they were like, "What?" No disrespect to Derek, that's not the point of my story, but they were just like couldn't believe when I told them some of the things about your history. Is there one reaction that you get more than others? I'm guessing that's probably it, when people hear about your backstory.
Yeah, I mean, it was funny because I went on Fox 5, Las Vegas News the other day, and they kind of thought I just did a few months in jail, and I just started rattling off my story, and she was just like, really? And they just get really intrigued, and afterwards we had a 20-minute conversation. They just want to know more, and it's just an exciting story. And the end obviously makes the story because of the redemption and stuff like that. So I get people mostly are in shock and when they hear it, but then when they hear the whole thing out, they're really entertained and then they're happy for me at the end.
Yeah, well, it's an incredible story, and the thing about it is it's still being written. So when it comes to the time that it ends, like how is Ian's story going to play out in your mind?
In my mind, it's just going to be me getting that belt and just putting a stamp on the whole career. Probably retiring earlier than people would think, and more focusing on the speaking and the giving back. Because once I reach the top, I feel like it's time to circle back around to the bottom and make that a full circle of giving back and just watching me change lives and help push people up to heights that I reached or even higher. And so that's where I see it ending. And that would be like the last chapter and new, and then just it would finish with all the stuff I want to do back.
Well, yeah.
Struggle and get inspired.
Yeah, it is really incredible what you do when you go around speaking and everything. And I know that you're a man of great faith as well, and that is very important to you. So I feel like you have so much to offer people. And I think especially that surprise factor of the way that you look and what you've been through, I think that just brings home a lot of the story even more. Like people are going to be more receptive to you. Do you see that way?
Yeah.
Does that happen that way?
Yeah, absolutely. I spoke at a school it's like a school it's an alternative high school for teens that are in trouble and they need to either just get in a career or maybe go to college, but it's more career oriented. And, it was in the hood, and a lot of these people don't have parents and stuff, or they're foster and just speaking my story. And, I don't tell these guys, I'm like, don't do drugs, kids, like, cause that's just the typical story they hear from a geek. And they're like, if you would tell me don't do something, I'm going to do it. So I just show them, look, this is where it's going to lead. And they see someone like me, who's a tough UFC fighter, and telling them, look, I didn't pick this life. God cured me of my addiction, and just the impact it had on those kids. And I feel exactly like you said, my look, my personality, and just what I've been through, people can really relate on a lot of levels. And it was kind of funny. We were in the Red Rock, and 4 years ago on this week, I was here trying out for the Tough 205 edition.
Right.
And I did one interview and they're like, you're on the show. But then the Spanish government wouldn't confirm of my criminal record in time.
Yeah.
So they threw me off the show. They made me pull out of a fight I had. And but 4 years later, full circle here. So it's awesome.
Nice. Well, I love it. Your story has so many layers of redemption, and there's so many positive things about you and your career to root for, Ian. So I really just, would say thanks for joining me today and wish you the best. Yeah. And I know you're dying to get back on that winning track. So if you can, ideally, how do you finish this fight? How do you win this one?
Ideally, I kind of want to, ideally you just go out there and knock someone out, Jorge Masvidal style. Like that's the Super Bowl of a knockout. But, I would like to, make him try to wrestle me a lot and just beat him in the scrambling, wear him down a little bit, and then get a spectacular knockout. Either way, I want to just be able to steal part of this show. It's such a big pay-per-view. There's so many amazing fighters. I'm honored to be on it. And I want to steal, a big piece of that show. That's my goal for this whole trip, this fight, and this week.
Nice. Well, I love it. I wish you the best of luck. And we are going to have you play No Wrong Answers too. So cool. Stick around for that. But thank you, Ian, for the interview, and best of luck on Saturday.
Yeah, thank you so much.